Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to see all of you this morning. And welcome to our very special tribute to Rabbi Rena Kieval as she ends her tenure as a full-time rabbi at Congregation Ohav Shalom. We're clapping for her, not that she's ending her tenure. Just want to be clear. I am Judy Abner, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the immediate past president of Congregation Ohav Shalom, and also the co-chair of the Tribute Organizing Committee. Before we get started with the program, for those of you who are here in person who wondered about the coffee, it's not that we forgot about the coffee. It's that the tables were so crowded we had no room for the coffee cups. You all managed to figure that out on your own, but after the program, there will be coffee and dessert served at your tables, so you can go back for that. So we're very glad to be here with all of you today. Whether you're with us virtually or in person, we thank you for your patience, understanding, and support as we dealt with the complications and challenges of trying to plan an event like this during COVID. So you all know about the 1,000 emails you got with different directions and all of that, and really thank you for kind of working your way through all of that to be here together. We're just really thrilled that we actually managed to do this. And we're so pleased this morning that so many of us are together at Ohav, as well as almost 100 well-wishers with us virtually. We're happy for the technology that allows people from all over to be able to celebrate together and to be able to honor and pay tribute to Rabbi Rena. Certainly the outpouring of love and gratitude for all that Rabbi Rena has given to us individually, as a synagogue community, as a Jewish community, and as a community at large has been overwhelming, but I suppose really not surprising. Rabbi Rena has served our community at Ohav for 16 years as one of our rabbis and in so many related spiritual and support roles for many years prior to that. We've been blessed with and inspired by her intellect, her creativity, wisdom, compassion, and good counsel. And I could go on and on listing all of her contributions, but each one of you here, each one of us, has our own story and our own way in which Rabbi Rena has impacted us personally and as a family. And indeed, we could be here all day sharing those stories. The many tributes that Rabbi Rena has received have been scrolling while we've been preparing, getting ready to start the program. And we're really grateful to everyone who has reached out to support and honor Rabbi Rena, including our former rabbi, Rabbi Baruch Friedman Cole, who sent a lovely message. Our plan is to try to preserve all of the well wishes and the memories of today in a special keepsake book that will be made for Rabbi Rena to have after this event. So now, starting off the program, it's my great pleasure to introduce Ohav's president, Greg Fox.
Thank you. Good day, everyone, and mazel tov to you, Rabbi Rena, and to your family on this amazing day. On behalf of the entire congregation, I wanted to thank you and say how much you added to our lives and Judaic enlightenment and experiences. Thank you for your service to us, your advice, your counsel, and just your presence. I know that you'll not be leaving us, just moving on to another road in your life, so lots of luck and love on all you plan to do. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we wanted to present you with a leaf for the Tree of Life. It's still coming in, but the inscription on it will say, Toda Rabbah, Rabbi Rena Kieval, for your dedication, thoughtful care, and many years of service to our synagogue. May you go from strength to strength, the Ohav Shalom Board of Trustees. And also just wanted to say thank you to Judy and her committee for this amazing event. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Greg. Our next speaker is our Rabbi Dan.
Good morning, everyone. Mazel tov to Rabbi Rena, and it's great that everybody is here with us today. Among the many things that my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Rena, and I share is a love for Torah studies. So, Rena, with your permission, I want to do a little bit of that right now. So, in honor of you and in honor of this day, I want to begin this tribute to you with just a little bit of Torah. We're going to look at a verse from Psalm 47, verse 2. This is an interesting verse that calls out the following to all the nations of the world. Kol ha'amim tik'u chaf, hariu le'Elohim b'kol Rena. All you peoples, clap your hands, raise a joyous shout for God. Now, Rabbi, let's think back, way back to rabbinical school. In the Bible classes that you and I took as rabbinical students, we were taught about this idea of parallelism in Hebrew poetry. What's parallelism? You write a verse in two parts that parallel each other in meaning, and you use different words to intensify and to emphasize the idea of the verse. So in the case of this verse that I just quoted, the global community, all humanity, is called to clap its hands, and even more so, it's called to raise a joyous shout to God. Clapping leads to the even more intensive and joyous act of shouting before God. But there are other ways to read the two parts of the verse apart from just seeing it as a parallelism. Let's look at one of the great commentators on the Bible, a man by the name of Malbim, who was a 19th century Bible commentator. He explained that each part of this verse is really pointing toward two different but related ideas. The first part of the verse anticipates a time when all nations, not just the Jews, will be at peace and no longer oppressing each other for religious or for political reasons. In this vision, every human being puts his or her hands together, clapping with joy for the new world of peace, when no one will harm anyone, anywhere, anymore. The second part of the verse anticipates the grand celebration by all humanity during this era of peace, when God is finally crowned the ruler of the universe. On that coronation day, all people will raise a joyous shout for God. So, in the manner typical of rabbis, as you and I both know, we always like to come up with our own interpretations. So I want to offer a third interpretation of this verse. So let's look at the Hebrew verse again. Kol ha'amim tik'u chaf, hariu le'Elohim b'kol Rena. This Hebrew phrase, kol Rena, is translated as a joyous shout. Now, you and I both know that it can also be translated literally as Rena's voice, kol Rena. We could therefore translate the verse in the following way: shout joyfully to God with or because of Rena's voice. Rabbi, your voice, literally and metaphorically, has helped me, and it has helped us shout joyfully to God. I thank you, and we thank you for your voice that lifts us to God each time you lead us in prayer, you chant Torah or other sacred books, and you teach countless others to do so as well. I thank you, and we thank you for being a voice of reason during times when my own thinking was muddled, or I was anxious or angry or sad and needed your reassurance, your good thinking, and occasionally your ability to read me the proverbial riot act about anything I didn't want to face. I thank you, and we thank you for being a voice of conscience when I or when we needed moral or spiritual clarity to deal with the many challenges that we have faced as a Jewish sacred community. I thank you, and we thank you for being a voice of joy and laughter during our simchas, for being a voice of comfort and consolation during our sadness. Let's look at that verse one more time. Kol ha'amim tik'u chaf, hariu lelohim bekol Rena. Your voice, your presence, and your impact have strengthened and enlightened me as you and I have traveled this very long path over nearly 30 years as friends and as co-rabbis of Ohav Shalom. Your voice, your presence, and your impact have led us as Ohav Shalom, lovers of peace, to shout for joy to God as a community dedicated to peace and to love. Rabbi Rena, as you enter this newest stage of your rabbinic leadership in your life, may your voice always call out to all people, near and far, to show them the path to peace. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Dan. Now a very special treat all the way from Israel. Rabbi Rena's Abba, Rav Chaim Halpern, will be joining us via Zoom. Magic.
Hi. Oh, Toda Rabba. Thanks from Jerusalem to the women and men of Ohav Shalom for this opportunity to talk about my daughter at the Rav Rena retirement reception. I'm the right person to talk to about this because I've known Rena since she was very young. I also know her direct ancestry of at least 5 centuries of rabbis, and I assure you, all of them were men. Rena's late beloved mother and I never dreamt that with 3 daughters, we would see another link in the chain of rabbis in the family. However, there were premonitions that women would someday be rabbis in the United States, at least. And I think even one, well, there are a few here in Israel as well. Let's go back a little more than 3,000 years ago, where there was a sign at Sinai that we read on Shavuot. In one of the opening verses, it says, Kotomar, it's God speaking to Moses, Moses conveying this to the people of Israel. Kotomar leveit Yaakov, the Tagid lebeit Bnei Yisrael. So Rashi, the most important commentator we have, quoting the Mechilta, says, Beit Yaakov, Elu Hanashim. These are the women. In other words, it was ladies first to hand down the Torah. It took 30 centuries for women to attain that august role, but we finally have come to it. By the way, Rashi only had daughters also. I have a relevant personal experience to share with you that I feel is important to understand the role of women. When the Soviet Union began to melt down, I was invited on 5 separate occasions to lead seminars of young adults in Ukraine and some of the neighboring Soviet republics. I asked my students what had kept them, what had kept the Jewish light burning within them during 70 years of communist repression. There was no Jewish education, no rabbis, no shuls, and universally, almost universally, they pointed to their bubbies, their grandmothers, savta in modern lingo in Hebrew and actually Aramaic. The bubby spoke Yiddish, so they were able to attend these seminars. The bubby made holiday delicacies, such as recently we had Shavuot. They would make blintzes. and some even literally kept the light burning by lighting Shabbat candles on Friday night. Now, Rena is a bubby, and a very young bubby, and like her inspirational mother, would surely have been a member of that heroic legion of Russian, Ukrainian, and other bubbies who kept the Jewish light burning. In Rena's own biography, there were many clues or portents that foreshadowed her path to the rabbinate. She was the only girl in her class at the yeshiva in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and she continued the pursuit of Jewish education on all levels, including postgraduate. She became or was from very early age, a fluent Hebrew speaker as well. And then her occupations, the rabbinate was closed when she trained for an occupation. She was a magazine editor, a social worker, and of course, as you know, a Jewish educator. And then at Ohav Shalom, she founded two very sensitive organizations within the shul, Yad Yonatan and Chevra Kadisha, both of which cater to the most helpless, literally helpless people in a congregation. I believe that Rav Rena is another of those eternal teachers, and has been hinted at or pointed out literally. She will perpetuate her Jewish activities as she embarks on the next volume of her life set alongside her devoted life partner, Shalom. From Zion, Rena, I bestow upon you the traditional bracha, Yisimech, Rena, Miriam, Bat Sarah, V'chaim David. For the like all daughters of Beit Yaakov, may the Lord bless you with the continuing zeal and virtues of the bubbies of Israel. May you be granted long life, good health, and above all, nachat from your future generations. V'chein yehi ratzon. Amen.
I'm so hard to get back to this. Also from Israel, some words from Rabbi's sister, Alita.
Yeah. Mazal Tov, Rena, from all the Avrahams. We're so proud of you and all your accomplishments. I know that you'll continue to bring your own unique talents and tuv lev to this next chapter in your life. All our love from here, from Jerusalem yourself. Bye.
Todah. So the technology really is a wonderful thing when it works, which it did. So yay. We knew God was watching over us today because we have good weather, and now we know the gods of technology are also with us. So, you know, life is good. And it's very special thanks, of course, to Rav Halpern and to Alita for joining us in this way. And now I'm pleased to introduce Rabbi Rena's U.S. family, or some of them. Well, I will introduce everybody and you'll figure it out, right? Okay. We're all nothing if not flexible. So I'm pleased to introduce David Kieval, and hopefully Emily will join us, and some of their children. We have Mira and Yoni, for sure, and also Daniel Kieval and Miriam Kudler-Flem, and they will be followed by Rena's husband, Dr. Shalom Kieval.
your dad. Thank you so much to everyone who is here, everyone who volunteered, the shul staff. It's really just amazing to be up here and see all the love for my mom, Rabbi Rena. And we're really, really proud of her and excited to have more of her time, too. So I'm just going to say a couple things, and then we're actually going to lead you all in a song. So some of you know that I'm a psychologist. I do a lot of teaching in my professional work about the conditions that support people to grow and be healthy in emotionally and psychologically healthy ways. And what the research tells us is that the single most important factor nurturing that health and growth is the presence of a safe, consistent, and loving relationship with a trusted adult, for children all the way up into adulthood. So the first thing I want to say is I want to thank you, Mom and Dad, for being that for me and for providing me with, the best, nurturing, safe, trusting environment that I could possibly have hoped for as a child in my home. In addition, I growing up, reflecting on my childhood, I feel that I had that in my community as well, and in this building and this Ohav Shalom community. And so I want to thank Ohav Shalom and those of you who remember me being a little, the age of my kids, running around in the halls and everything, for creating that environment here in the shul. And given that kind of consonance between those two environments, it was only fitting to watch my mom become a rabbi here and bring that energy that I experienced at home into the shul as well. And it's been incredible over the years to see the synergy and the way that she's been able to bring her sense of calm, her brilliant insights, her love, and her compassion to maintain that Ohav culture that so nurtured me and to help it grow and flourish as well. So one of the reasons that caring and loving relationships are so critical is that they create a space where we feel safe enough to open up and be vulnerable. Vulnerable to receive others' support when we need it, and vulnerable to step outside our own comfort zones and learn new things. So a nice piece of synergy in my mother's awesome skill set is not only that she helps people to feel comforted and comfortable and cared for, but she's an incredible teacher, and she's able to inspire people to tackle new challenges, to pursue growth and learning throughout all stages of life. So some of you may know we lost my grandmother earlier this year, my grandfather, who you just heard, his wife, my grandmother. And one of the things that was discussed quite a lot in the course of her Shiva and the grieving period has been the legacy of teaching and education in our family. And she was a dedicated teacher, and it's been wonderful to get to see all the different ways that my mom, Rabbi Rena, has carried on that legacy here at Ohav Shalom. And so in a few moments, we're going to ask you or invite you to join us, if you would like, in singing a song about teaching and learning. And I want to single out one line of the song. The song is Teach Your Children by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And one of the lines in the song is feed them on your dreams. The one they pick's the one you'll know by. And in the course of my sort of building my own family and my own life and my own home, I've had lots of conversations with friends about the dreams and the legacies of their upbringing and their parents, and some people struggle mightily to overcome lessons and models that were provided to them by their parents and to forge a different path. And the older I get, the more I see and the more grateful I just feel that I am like on the opposite end of the spectrum for that. My life, I aspire to raise my family the way that I was raised, and I thank you both for that very much. So that's me. And looking out at the crowd here, I also see many, many people who also have learned from the model through direct teaching, been comforted and supported by my mom, Rabbi Rena. And so if you feel comfortable doing so, you could rise, stand up, or raise a hand if Rabbi Rena taught you for your bar bat mitzvah. I see. And you can stay standing or keep your hand up. Please rise or raise a hand in your body or spirit if you've taken another class with Rabbi Rena. How about if Rabbi Rena helped you adopt a new Jewish practice or skill or ritual? And if Rabbi Rena supported you through an important life cycle event or moment in your life? And if you haven't stood yet and you have something in your heart that you want to thank Rabbi Rena for, please rise. Although there aren't too many of you left. Thank you all so much. And thank you. All right, you can sit down if you like, or you can stand up and dance, because we're going to move into a song here. Do you want to do a quick, just say what your thought there?
Yeah. So I don't have very much to add to that, just to say that this song, if you know it, points out the teaching and learning that goes in both directions, between parents and children and between children and parents. And I imagine it goes without saying, I hope, how much we have learned from you as our mother and teacher. And I know that also you're fond of the teaching that says, from my teachers I have learned much, and from my colleagues I've learned even more, and from my students I've learned most of all. And so we know that there's learning that has gone in both directions and continues to go in both directions between us. So as we sing this song, just with the hope and blessing that that will continue for many years in our lives. And do we want to invite anyone who is familiar with this song? Feel welcome to join us in singing Teach Your Children.
Step out a little.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye, and teach your children well, their parents' health did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die, and teach your parents well, their children's health will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you will cry, so just look at them and sigh.
Okay, hard act to follow, huh? That was a cameo, by the way, of Emily and Shula.
Thank you. This is really a tremendous outpouring of love and affection from this wonderful, wonderful community that we really have been blessed to be a part of for all these many years that we've been here in Albany, and it's overwhelming. So thank you all. When Rena was installed here as rabbi, I was welcomed by the not Rebbitzins, the spouses of the other rabbis in the community, into the not Rebbitzin club. So, and Marion congratulated me on graduating now from the not Rebbitzin club, but I'll be in the not Rebbitzin club emeritus. So, when Rena and I first met, she was a college sophomore and a teenager. And there are some people here in the audience who knew her and us at that time. And neither of us had any clue that she might one day be a congregational rabbi. We both had fathers who were rabbis and knew that the life of a congregational rabbi is not an easy one. And it's hard on the family too. There is the 24/7 call. Illness, emergencies, and deaths happen when they happen. Evenings are frequently taken up with shul work, classes or meetings or phone calls. And of course, there is little rest on the weekend or holidays, which are the busiest time for synagogue activities. It's even hard to relax in the summer, since planning for the High Holy Days and the start of the school and the congregational program year must be well underway by August. So who would have expected? If I had to guess at the time, I would probably have said she might choose to be a writer or a journalist. She was, after all, an English major who read a lot and could parse Joyce's Ulysses, among other esoterica. She worked on the college daily paper, I think as a copy editor, and could turn out a well-written college paper or essay in one sleepless night, right on deadline. In fact, her first job after college was on the editorial staff of a technical journal. And yet here we are. She followed her heart, answered her calling, and did what she meant to do. Each of you know Rabbi Rena in your own way, but I'd like to share a few little-known facts, fun facts, maybe, about her life that may throw some additional light on her life's journey. So here are 10 things, David Letterman style, some cute, some a bit more serious. And it's actually going to be less than 10, I think, because I am going to omit some things you've already heard and might hear again. 10. So as a little girl attending school in Georgia at the time, she acquired a deep Southern accent. And when she asked her New York-speaking parents for boiled eggs, it took them a few moments to figure out what she was asking for. 9. Her childhood summers were spent on Army bases, like Fort Drum, playing jacks and paper dolls with her two sisters. Her father was a chaplain in the Army Reserves throughout his career and the only male in the family with 3 daughters. In a generational irony, Rena found herself the mother of 3 boys and the only female in the house. 8, she has a dazzling aptitude for word games, Scrabble, crosswords, and the like, and now seems to be hooked on that new online word game. What's it called? And its many variations. She also has the patience, tenacity, and Zen-like concentration to complete crazy large jigsaw puzzles. 7, she has witnessed 2 total eclipses of the sun and spent a week rafting down a forever wild river in Idaho. 6, she prefers quiet to noise, silence to sound, and likes her outdoor activities without motors. Biking, hiking, kayaking, snorkeling, and, which strangely in the Northeast, she looks forward to big snowstorms so she can get out on her cross-country skis. 5, despite this aversion to noise, she has a lifetime love affair with New York City. Its streets, bustling rhythms, human diversity, cultural riches and parks, and yes, even its sounds. She is a lifelong devotee of the New Yorker magazine and the Sunday Times. 4, music. She can play Mozart on the piano. She likes Joni Mitchell a lot. Also, Amy Mann, Regina Spektor, and Carole King. Also, Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead, Bruce Springsteen, and Paul Simon, all of whom she has heard in concert. And of course, the Beatles. I won't tell you who her favorite Beatle was. Yes. Other jobs. I'm out of number order. 3, yes. She used to work summers for a global shipping company at the World Trade Center. The office was very high up and had a dizzying but spectacular view of the city and the New York harbor below. After 9/11, she went back to be part of the emergency counseling effort for survivors and workers at the site. As you heard, she has a master's degree in social work and experience in child protective services, and she worked for several years doing psychiatric social work at McLean and Metropolitan State Hospitals in Massachusetts. I've lost count of numbers. Call this 2. Like the little French girl, Madeline, in the children's story, she is not afraid of mice, or much else for that matter, not even death. And it's Shuli's story, right, Madeline? An especially meaningful project for her was the creation of the volunteer Lei Hever Kadisha, which you have heard about. And finally, number 1, and this all of you may know. Rena, everything you do flows from your big, generous, and kind heart, a heart so full of love and compassion that it overflows to the people around you, bringing comfort to the sick, the troubled, and the grief-stricken, bringing spiritual meaning to life's special moments, bringing words of Torah and love for the Jewish people in Israel to those hungry to learn, bringing blessings to everyone you touch. You are a blessing. So if you will permit me and come up here, I would like to extend my blessing to you, my rabbi, my wife, the love of my life. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
We're all very overwhelmed up here at the moment, so give us a moment. Anyway, thank you for all the beautiful words and the song, and we're also grateful for all of you for generously sharing Rabbi Rena with all of us. We know that took some time away from you all, but really just enriched us all so much, so profoundly grateful for that. But now in the program, it's my incredible honor and very personal honor to present Rabbi Rena with a special gift from the congregation and from everybody here. So let me just tell you briefly, the committee really struggled with what would we get for Rabbi Rena. Shalom knows this because he was one of the people I reached out to and said, "Nu, what do we do?" Whoa. And now we see the challenges of the Bima at Ohav Shalom, where we love children, but we need to hang on to them. We really thought about it a lot, and we decided quickly that we thought art would be good because we know how much Rabbi Rena loves art. But that did not exactly narrow the field, shall we say. So then we struggled. We Googled, we talked to people, we talked to artists, we talked to anybody we could think of. We even took a field trip to see if we could find something, and in fact we did. And we fell in love with this piece, which we will be presenting to you by the famous Israeli artist Gal Almalia, and it's called Save the World. And it has a quote from the Talmud that says, "Whomever preserves a single soul, Scripture ascribes merit to them as though they saved a complete world." And we felt that that really captured the essence of Rabbi Rena for all of us, for the many different ways in which you've touched each person here and our community. And so we present this, I can read it from the back. We present this to Rabbi Rena with a special inscription that says, "In deepest gratitude for your dedication, caring, concern, mentorship, compassion, seichel, and commitment to Jewish values and tikkun olam. Your efforts have indeed inspired and preserved us." Thank you. Toda Rabba.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Rabbi Rena.
This is pretty overwhelming. Check this off. Fortunately, thanks to all of you, I am accustomed to public speaking, so I will just carry on. And some of what I'm going to talk about has already been said, but you'll bear with me. It's my last opportunity to be up here like this. Moda ani, I am grateful. The words we say upon starting a new day. You will hear me repeat those words many times. I am grateful. I am grateful to the organizers of this day. These events always involve elaborate planning, and you faced the additional complexities of COVID. I know you put in a great deal of effort to create a lovely event while keeping people safe. Thank you, Shari Piper, Judy Avner, Debbie Rausch, Marjorie Zucker, Michelle Sanders, Susan Ungerman, Jane Ginsburg, Sheila Lobel, Laura Jacobs, Jean Kabak, Sharon Lozman, and Nancy Pandolfo. Thank you to all of you here in person, including family and friends from afar. Thank you all for cooperating with all of the procedures. And thank you to those of you who are present virtually. Thank you to all who participated in the honorary committee or sent ads and messages. Your support of me touches me deeply. And I am glad of your support to this special congregation, which, as you heard, has nourished my family and me with community and spiritual sustenance for the past 35 years. I am grateful to my parents, to you, Dad, wherever you are, I don't know how to talk to you, and to Mom, Zichrona Livracha, for instilling in me a love of Jewish tradition, of Israel, and of the Hebrew language, all of which shaped my life in positive ways. In you, Dad, I had an excellent rabbinic role model. Still, there have been times I asked myself, how on earth did this happen? I never planned to be a rabbi. That surprise evolved naturally. As a young woman, when I chose to become a social worker, I was consciously inspired by Jewish values, especially the mandate that people are meant to care for one another. When we settled here in Albany and at Ohav, I found that I loved to share my knowledge of Judaism with adults and children as a teacher and as a ritual guide. Then the Capital District Board of Rabbis, some members of which my colleagues are sitting here today, asked me to serve as Jewish chaplain at Albany Med, a role that I found profoundly rewarding. So, social worker, Jewish educator, ritual director, hospital chaplain, a picture was forming of where I was headed. That picture was not yet in focus for me, but at some point, our dear congregant Les Stein of blessed memory began addressing me as rabbi. Or as Les would say, Rabbi? When he first called me that, I was stunned, but I came to like the sound of it. It felt right. And before long, I was blessed to study at and be ordained by my phenomenal seminary, the Academy for Jewish Religion in New York. The world of rabbis was, of course, not foreign to me. As we talked about, I grew up in a rabbinic household and I'm married to a rabbi's son. But as a young woman of my era, the role of rabbi was not readily on the table. I am grateful that I live in a time and place in which women are now able to become rabbis when we feel called to do so. More broadly, I am grateful that so many segments of the Jewish world have become egalitarian and inclusive of all individuals who want to serve or be part of them. We all benefit from that, from stronger communities which reflect the Jewish value that everyone is of equal worth, everyone belongs. Everyone belongs and everyone is entitled to their heritage. That ideal drove me to teach Judaism to the many adults I have taught and am still teaching, including those of you whom I led through our intensive adult B'nai Mitzvah program. I have the privilege of opening the door for you to learn in depth about Judaism and to take ownership of your tradition. That tradition was yours all along, but was not fully yours, whether because of your gender or for other reasons in your life story. Empowering adults to engage seriously with Jewish texts, to feel at home with Jewish life, or to participate in ritual from the Bima, that has been a highlight of my work, the greatest nachas. And from you, my students, I have learned, and I'm still learning, fresh new perspectives on our very old tradition, true to the rabbinic idea that the Torah has a multitude of faces and is a living, ever-evolving text. I thank you. Ohav Shalom, Moda Ani. I am grateful that you put your trust in me to serve as a spiritual leader. I have been honored to accompany so many of you in the most sacred moments, moments of celebration, of joy, and of sadness. You let me into those sacred moments. As you welcomed new life, as you watched your children blossom and become bat and bar mitzvah, as you prepared for marriage or studied to become Jewish. You let me in to be at your side in times of serious illness, fear, and vulnerability, and to escort you through sacred moments of loss, grief, and pain. These moments are all sacred because they are the moments in life that are the most real. All the extraneous, superficial stuff, what the Jewish mystics call the klipot, the outer shells of things, those things that distract us from what is truly important in life. They all fall away at those times. In our moments of deepest joy or most profound sorrow, we are fully ourselves. When our hearts are full to overflowing, or when our hearts are utterly broken, in those moments we touch something of the infinite mystery of love, life, and death. You let me be in those moments with you, and I am so grateful and honored. A congregation, a Kieval Kadosha, is a container for those personal moments and also for communal moments. I have been thinking a lot about Shabbatot and holidays, about so many projects and programs which contain sacred moments. I wish I could thank by name every person involved in making those happen. But that would be deadly. The list would be far too long. And that is a very good problem, having too many people to thank. So although people are more important than programs, I won't name names, but I do want to mention just a few aspects of Ohav life that I have been thinking about with pride. Each brings to my mind the people who supported or still support it. You know who you are, and so do I. Thank you for Shomrei Adama, our environmental awareness group, and its beautiful hikes, amazing meals and Tu B'Shvat Seders, sustainable practices for Kiddush and the shul. For welcoming the stranger, our support of local refugees, our monthly food bank volunteers, our Musar groups, which explore a different approach to Jewish spirituality, a successful capital campaign which led to a beautiful building renovation, the quiet community of weekday morning minyan, preschool, Hebrew school, and family ed gatherings, Nitzanim and Shorashim for young families, and uplifting Shabbat morning services led by rotations of lay daveners and Torah chanters organized by tireless volunteers. It takes many people, many dedicated people, to sustain this busy congregation. I am thankful to have worked alongside so many lay leaders who give selflessly of their time and talents, especially the presidents of my rabbinic time here, whom I will name: David Weinstein, Cindy Lax, Jeff Cohen, Jeff Suter, Libby Post, Judy Avner, and Greg Fox. What amazing partners, every one of you. And a special thank you and shout out to you, Judy, whose presidential term lasted, I think, about 100 years. What a time we had navigating through a global pandemic, lockdown, virtual high holy days, endless meetings on Zoom, whoever even heard of Zoom before, with those ongoing challenges now carried by Greg. I am grateful to all our volunteers and to Ohav's educators and staff who keep it all running. To our executive director, I don't know where she is, Nancy Pandolfo, you are one of the hardest working people I know. Nancy, you and I began our service to Ohav at around the same time. I don't know that either of us quite imagined the all-consuming, often messy, yet often beautiful work we were each getting into. You managed to carry it all with grace and a warm smile, and I thank you for that. Rabbi Dan. Dan, my friend and mentor, my rabbinic partner in crime. Were it not for you, chances are I would not be standing here. You encouraged me, pushed me to follow my neshama where it was leading me. You supported me in my decision to become a rabbi and through my years of study in New York City and Israel. You invited me to share your rabbinic leadership, the invitation of a lifetime. We wrote and published together, We studied, brainstormed, and bounced ideas off each other about how to build and sustain this spiritual home. We planned out our divvies and learned to manage our personal idiosyncrasies. We laughed a lot, and sometimes we cried. Sometimes we tore our hair out. With hard work and mutual trust, we created a rabbinic team and a friendship that has enriched my life, and I hope yours, and I hope the life of Ohav Shalom. Moda ani, I can never thank you enough. I am grateful for my family, for my 2 sisters, my in-law siblings, cousins, and friends who are like family. Thank you all for your love and support. David and Daniel, thank you for sharing your mother with 1,000 or so other people. You mostly escaped the fate of growing up as PKs, preacher's kids, as you were nearly adults when I embarked on this road. But you have both always offered me support and insight. I am so proud of you both, of your integrity and menschlichkeit. I am grateful beyond measure for the joy, pride, and wisdom and music that you bring me. And I am grateful for the sweet blessings that you have added to our lives. Emily and Miriam, and our precious Mira and Yoni and Shula. Shalom, my beloved. We have shared a lifetime of joys and sorrows. I could not be the rabbi I am without you. Thank you for sharing your spouse with some 1,000 other people. Shalom, we didn't read our speeches ahead of time, so this is repetitious. I know you never imagined you would end up a member of the I Am Not a Rebbitzin Club. I guess great minds think alike. That inducted you at my installation. In all fairness, when we first became a couple, I never dreamed I would end up the spouse of a doctor, as you were not then on that path either. But seeing your dedication as a healer inspires me on a daily basis. And when I decided to embark on this path, you did not flinch. You have supported me unconditionally, and your faith in me gives me strength. When I felt unsure about a sermon or a talk, including this one, you always encouraged me with the simple but wise advice, just speak from your heart. Shalom, my gratitude and love for you knows no bounds. No bounds. I am grateful for the 10 years we had the gift of our Jonathan, who brought joy, love, and laughter into our family. We are blessed that in his memory, Yad Yonatan continues to support people of all abilities and to bring comfort to the ill and bereaved. Thank you to all of you who sustain those missions. One of those missions that has been mentioned is our Chevra Kadisha, that holy work for which we do not thank people. But I must acknowledge today my Chevra sisters who helped me found that group some 20 years ago, and those who are part of it today. Surely when we stand together and lovingly prepare a person to go from this world to the next, it is one of those moments I spoke about earlier, sacred moments when we touch something that is real and that is part of the great mystery of being. And we respond to that mystery with kindness, chesed. I was asked to share our plans for the future. Shalom and I are still living here as Shalom continues in his medical practice. I am pleased that I will continue to teach and be a part of other Ohav activities. On Shabbat and holidays, we will divide our time between Albany and Northampton, Mass., where our children live. Friends, I want to leave you today with some thoughts on what I have learned from being your rabbi. I have learned that most people, most of the time, are good. Life is good. That is why the Torah tells us to choose it. We all know struggle and suffering. We all make mistakes, we behave thoughtlessly sometimes, and we hurt each other. And I don't live in a cave. I know there is a lot of brokenness in the world. There are people who do bad things, and it is important to fight against that bad, however we can. But I have seen that most people want to do the right thing. Most people have goodness in the core of their being. Maybe that is what the Torah means by that mysterious idea that human beings are created in the divine image. The news and social media would have us believe that the world is falling apart. It often focuses on the people who are doing bad things. But that is not the whole story. Maybe it is not even the true story. I suggest the approach of the Hasidic master, Rav Nachman of Bratslav, who taught, look for some aspect of goodness in every person, including in yourself. It is there. And focus on that. When we see the good in people, we bring out the good in people. So, Ohav friends, be good to one another. Be good to yourselves and bring more goodness into the world. Be kind to your leaders and staff. Be kind to your rabbis. The story that we tell about ourselves and about others will become the world that we create. Ohav Shalom, continue to tell a story of goodness. And Ohav Shalom, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Moda ani.
Thank you, Rabbi Rena, for your beautiful, very moving, heartfelt, just beautiful words. And I think the end part maybe stayed with a lot of people that you weren't leaving the Albany community. So we know that we will see you still as a member of Ohav Shalom, even if not as a rabbi. And I think that that probably warms the hearts of everybody here. Far be it from me to speak for people, but I think I can here, right? So thank you all for coming and in person and virtually. For those of you who have joined us virtually, there will be an opportunity to visit with Rabbi Rena via Zoom next week, and so watch for your emails for the information about that. Thank you also for our very hardworking committee, for Nancy and the staff, for Rivi Bahir, who made special halava, that's pomegranate and chocolate in honor of our pomegranate themes, and chocolate is always an honor. And also for our sponsors, and finally, thank you again to Rabbi Rena for everything. And we wish you only the best as you go forward in the next adventure of life. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful summer. Enjoy the day. Dessert and coffee are at your tables. I know the time is a little late, but if you want that, enjoy that. And also, if you wish, if you don't have enough glasses, you're welcome to take your champagne flute home as a special memory of this beautiful tribute. Thank you very much.